I'm Savannah. I grew up in a beige two-storm house in the suburbs of Raleigh, North Carolina, where everything always revolved around my sister Natalie. Natalie could sing, dance, had golden hair like a shampoo commercial, and always knew how to catch the grown-ups' attention. Every time our relatives came over, my mom would push her to the center of the living room like a prized decoration. Natalie, sing the climb for everyone, she'd chirp, eyes lighting up as if Miley Cyrus herself had walked into the room. Natalie would pretend to hesitate for a second before standing tall, flashing her charming smile and launching into song. Everyone would swoon like they were watching American Idol. Meanwhile, ZZ, frizzy brown hair and oversized glasses, would sit tucked beside the old upright piano, pretending to be absorbed in coloring so no one would ask me anything. No one asked me to stand up, no one wondered what I liked. At most, I'd get a passing comment. Who's that girl again? Oh, right, the second daughter of the Masons. Every time I heard that, I wanted to disappear into the wall. I didn't hate Natalie. I hated the way people made me feel like an extra part no one asked for. While Natalie was shuttled off to ballet, art classes, and music lessons, I stayed home, walking the neighbor's dog or dusting my mom's ceramic collection. I once overheard my dad tell Uncle Eddie at a party, "Savannah's different. She's into those weird books, not very social." Uncle Eddie laughed. Well, having one daughter like Natalie's enough to be thankful for. Savannah, at least she's obedient. I stood behind the kitchen door and heard it all. I didn't cry, I just bit my lip until it bled. The only person who didn't see through me like I was invisible was Aunt Evelyn, my grandmother's older sister. She lived alone in a little house at the end of the street, always filled with the smell of apple pie and old jazz records. She'd invite me over on weekends, we'd read in the garden, or arrange wildflowers she called free therapy. "You know, Savannah," she once said after I told her about school, "some people aren't meant to shine the way the crowd wants, but if you follow your own path, one day the world will have no choice but to look your way." I looked at her silver hair, deeply lined face, and those eyes that seemed to see straight through me. "The problem is," I mumbled, "no one wants to listen to me, Aunt Evelyn." "Then write for yourself first," she smiled, pouring more tea. "One day someone else will have to read." She didn't praise me for being pretty. She didn't ask why I wasn't outgoing like Natalie. She never said, "Sing a little something for the group." She just let me be. Truly be. There were times I wished Aunt Evelyn had been my mom. The wishes were just that, wishes. Because at home, nothing changed. Natalie stayed at the center and I stayed on the edge, like a shadow. And as I grew older, that shadow began to feel colder than I could pretend to ignore. In May, when I was 18, Eastbrook High held its year-end academic awards ceremony. I walked up to the stage and received my certificate, my name, Savannah Mason, printed clearly. Valedictorian, 4 GPA, and honors scholarships from 3 universities. Applause thundered like a downpour, but all I saw were 3 empty seats in the parents section. Mom didn't come. Dad didn't either. Natalie was off doing a lookbook shoot in New York. That evening, I brought the certificate home and gently placed it on the dinner table, right next to Mom's cold pasta dish. She glanced over, didn't even lift her head. "What's that?" "An honors certificate. I'm the top student this year." "Mm-hmm. So what are you planning after graduation?" "I got 3 scholarships. I want to major in business management." Dad sat across from me, setting down his beer with a smirk. "Management. Natalie's the type for that field. You should look into something more realistic. Maybe accounting, secretary work." I swallowed hard. "I've already applied. The University of Michigan accepted me. They even offered on-campus housing for the first year." "Who's paying for transportation?" Mom cut in, eyes still on her phone. "Just so you know, there's no more college fund. We've already spent over $60,000 on Natalie. She needs a new car for her internship, too." I looked over at the fridge. There was a picture of Natalie holding flowers next to her shiny new Mini Coupe. "But I got a scholarship." "Scholarships don't cover books, meals, insurance," Dad interrupted, "and we don't have a dime left." I exhaled, shaky. "I can work part-time. I could apply for a loan." You think we'll let you rack up student debt just to drop out halfway? Mom laughed without a hint of kindness. You're only good at textbook stuff. The real world's different. I stood, gripping the edge of the chair. I'm not Natalie, but I've worked 5 times harder for this. Exactly. You're not Natalie, Mom said coldly, which is why you need to be realistic. Uncle Rob's got a job at the furniture store. Not bad for someone fresh out of high school. I let out a bitter laugh, stomach turning. Lifting couches, right? Watch your mouth, Dad snapped. I didn't argue. I just turned, went upstairs, and locked my door. That night, I opened my laptop, signed out of my school account, and logged into my college admissions portal. My hand trembled as I hovered over the Decline Admissions button. And clicked. I almost clicked. But then a message popped up in the corner of my screen. My dear girl, it's Aunt Evelyn. Come visit this weekend, I have a surprise waiting. I broke down. A few days later, I rode my bike to Aunt Evelyn's red brick house, a charming ivy-covered home nestled between rows of tall lavender and crepe myrtle trees. She greeted me with a tight hug, like she somehow knew exactly how broken I'd been that week. We sat on her porch, she poured peach tea, and I stayed quiet. Savannah, she began, I know you'd never ask, so I'll say it first. They don't deserve you. I didn't answer. But I have something for you. She pulled out a cream-colored envelope and placed it on my lap. I opened it. Inside was a check, $25,000. I stammered. Auntie, this. I saved this from my teaching days. It's not much, but enough to give you a start. I burst into tears. I can't take this. You have to, she said, gripping my hand, because I've seen the fire in you since you were 10 years old, and no one gets to extinguish that. That night, I didn't go home. I sat on her porch well past midnight, listening to the crickets, and for the first time in weeks, I felt peace settle over me. 1 week later, I moved in with Aunt Evelyn. No one from home tried to stop me. No one even said goodbye. Mom just tossed out one last line as I loaded my suitcase into the car. Go, but don't come crawling back. I didn't answer. Aunt Evelyn's house sat at the end of Bellevue Street, a quiet road shaded by oak trees, far removed from the suffocating space I used to call home. Here, every morning felt like a new beginning. The smell of coffee wafting from her vintage kitchen, soft jazz humming from the record player, and sunlight painting everything through the old window panes like a living canvas. Aunt Evelyn never pried, never forced me to talk about what had happened. Instead, she began each day with one simple question. What do you want to do today for your future? I started resubmitting my college applications, this time with a personal hardship statement. On her advice. Aunt Evelyn wasn't just family. She had once been a professor of public administration at a community college. Helping me wasn't just a favor. It was a calling. 3 weeks later, I received an email from the Central Carolina University School of Business. They accepted me into their business management program along with additional financial support due to my circumstances. I didn't say a word. I just handed my phone to Aunt Evelyn. She gave my shoulder a gentle squeeze. Well then, it begins, Savannah. From now on, you're the one steering this life. I cried, not because I was emotional, but because, for the first time in my life, someone truly believed I could succeed. She drove me to orientation in her old olive green Buick, the leather seats worn but clean, scented faintly of lavender. During the ride, she handed me another envelope. This time it held a bank card with my name on it, linked to the tuition account she had set up. Use this for the right reasons, not to spend, but to prove you don't need them. I nodded, hands trembling as I took it. On my first day, I wore the crisp white blouse Aunt Evelyn had pressed, tied my hair back neatly, and walked into the campus, heart pounding like a drumline. The classrooms were wide and full of light, students from all over the state, and no one knew who I was. For the first time, I felt free. Free to start without being Natalie's little sister. I wasn't outgoing right away, but I listened intently, took detailed notes, and always turned in my work on time. By the third session, Professor Monroe, who taught strategic management, called me up after class. "Where are you from, Savannah?" "I used to attend Eastbrook High. I just moved from the west side of Raleigh. I can tell you see things differently. That's rare. Don't lose it." His words planted a seed in me, and it began to grow. Soon after, I signed up as a student assistant in the campus support office. 3 times a week, I sat at the information desk, helping students fill out scholarship forms, navigate buildings, or find the library. The pay wasn't much, but it helped cover food and used books. I studied late, read ahead on weekends, and every night I called Aunt Evelyn to tell her what I'd learned. She always asked the same thing: "What's one thing you're proud of today?" I'd answer with little things: solving a tough problem, talking to a classmate, or just not shaking during a presentation. She'd nod each time, as if every small win was living proof of what she'd believed from the beginning, that I mattered. One October afternoon, while scrubbing the dorm bathrooms during a custodial shift, I got the email. I'd been chosen for the Student Leadership Fellowship, one of only 10 freshmen in the entire school. I broke down crying in the hallway, not for the scholarship, but because I was no longer that kid who should have gone to trade school in my parents' eyes. That night, I printed the email, slid it into a portfolio binder, and placed it on Aunt Evelyn's bookshelf, right between The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Lean In. She said nothing, just pulled me into a hug and whispered, "You're on your way now, Savannah, and you've never made me anything but proud." I gripped her hand tightly. I graduated from Central Carolina University at the age of 22, with highest honors, a spotless transcript, and a thesis that was named Best in Class by the faculty board. The ceremony was held in a grand oak-paneled auditorium where applause echoed nonstop. I wore a deep navy gown gripping the diploma with my name on it. In the 4th row, Aunt Evelyn sat upright, eyes shimmering. She was the only one I invited. No mom, no dad. Natalie was probably flying to Miami or busy with a photo shoot. But I didn't feel empty. I felt whole. 1 week later, I was hired as an assistant manager at Veridian, a high-end restaurant chain expanding throughout the Charlotte area. Each location ranked among the top on the local Michelin watch list. Elegant without being showy, refined but still warm. I started with the basics: scheduling shifts, managing inventory, resolving customer complaints. I learned how to lead a team of nearly 30 without making anyone feel commanded. The skills I had once scribbled furiously in class became instinct: crisis, analyze, respond, adjust. Within 12 months, I was promoted to manager of Veridian's 5th branch, right in the heart of uptown Charlotte. I had just turned 23. That was also the first time Mom called me in 3 years. "Davienne, we heard you're a manager now at some famous restaurant?" I held the phone with one hand while signing off inventory with the other. "Veridian. I run the main location." "Ooh, that's impressive. Your dad and we're happy for you." I said nothing. Something inside me had long since hardened, like fresh skin that had learned not to tear again. A few weeks later, Natalie unexpectedly texted. She sent a photo of her baby girl, Ruby, 3 months old, along with a single line: "I need to talk. Can I call you?" I don't know what made me agree, but that evening I picked up. What came out was a flood. Natalie had dropped out in her final year at Parsons after getting pregnant by a cinematographer more than 10 years her senior. He had promised everything, but when she refused to terminate the pregnancy, he vanished. Our parents offered no support, especially Mom. "Mom said I ruined my future," Natalie choked. "Now I'm living in Grandma's basement." I stayed quiet. "Savannah, I know I hurt you a lot, but I really want to start over." For the first time, Natalie wasn't arrogant or fake. She was just honest. I didn't say I forgave her. I simply asked, "Do you have a job?" Trying to get one at a cafe nearby, but diapers, doctor bills. I looked around my office, managing schedules for nearly 50 staff. An idea sparked. "Veridian needs an administrative assistant. If you can come to Charlotte, I'll talk to senior management. No promises, but I'll try." Natalie was silent for a long moment, then she broke down, crying. The next week, she showed up at my office, nothing like the Instagram model she used to be. Dark circles, exhausted posture, but honest eyes. After the interview, HR gave a cautious thumbs up. Natalie was hired on a 3-month trial. At first, I stayed guarded, but she was efficient, organized, always on time, no no-shows. Eventually, the team warmed up to her, not for her past, but because of her effort now. One afternoon, I caught sight of her gently rocking Ruby to sleep in the office break room, singing quietly. I stood in the hallway, watching. I didn't know if Natalie had truly changed. When Natalie was officially signed on full-time at Viridian, I thought things would settle, but I underestimated my parents' uncanny ability to sniff out success like bloodhounds. About 2 months later, right after Natalie received a nomination to become regional admin lead, I got a FaceTime call from my mother. I hesitated for over a minute before answering. Her familiar face appeared on screen, perfectly curled blonde hair, blush a bit heavy, and a smile far too sweet to be real. 7A. I said nothing, waiting to see how long it would take for her to get to the point. Your dad and I have been keeping up with your progress. Heard you're opening a new branch. So exciting. I gave a faint smile. Is that so? Funny, I don't remember anyone cheering when I got a full scholarship. She paused, then forced a chuckle. That's in the past, honey. Everyone makes mistakes. Actually, I called to ask you about something. I crossed my arms. My heart was ice. Let's skip to the point. What do you want? It's your father. His health's been poor lately. He had to leave work, and they cut my hours at the salon. I wasn't surprised. They were both in their mid-50s, never saved a dime, and had lived off Natalie's golden child image for years. When she crashed, they had no cushion, no plan, no backup. And she pressed her lips together. Everyone in the family says you're doing well, really well. Maybe you could help out a bit, just for a few months? Turned to the window. Outside, my staff moved briskly through prep for a quality inspection I'd designed from scratch. Every success I'd built had been earned, alone, brick by brick. I looked back at the screen. You know Natalie works here now, right? Yes, she told me. She's really changed, thanks to you giving her a chance. I nodded. I'll help, but not with money. She frowned. What do you mean? If you and Dad really need work, I'll speak with HR at the Raleigh branch. They've got openings in cold storage, delivery, and late shift sanitation. Living wage, full benefits. Silence. Long enough that I thought she had hung up. Then her voice snapped back, sharper than I expected. You want your parents doing manual labor after all we've done for you? I stared straight at her. Exactly. Or you can figure it out yourselves. I'm done paying the debt of 18 years of favoritism. She opened her mouth to reply, but I ended the call. That night, I told Natalie, as we were organizing backstock in the supply room. She didn't seem surprised. You're softer than I'd be. I'd have blocked them already. I'm not doing it for them, I'm doing it for me, so I don't carry the guilt anymore. 3 weeks later, my father showed up to the Raleigh branch. Wrinkled dress shirt, dark circles under his eyes, but he clocked in on time. Worked every shift. Mom never came. Word was she'd started helping a friend run an online resale business from home. I didn't ask. That spring, Natalie was promoted to regional admin director. She stood beside me during Viridian's internal conference, her eyes shining as the CEO called us the Mason sisters, Viridian's rising stars. After the event, Natalie pulled a card from her purse. Can you come by on Saturday? Ruby wants you to blow out her birthday candles. My throat tightened. I'll be there, but you better get a sugar-free cake. She laughed and pulled me into a hug. I'd never imagined I'd laugh with my sister like that, or see my father wiping sweat from his forehead in a warehouse uniform and not feel bitterness. But it turns out justice doesn't always arrive like thunder. Sometimes it comes from choosing the right thing over and over, until the world has no choice but to change with you. That Sunday afternoon, I was sitting alone in my office, sketching out a new staff training module for our upcoming location, when my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Notifications poured in. Texts from Natalie, our HR manager, even a few people I hadn't heard from since high school. All of them sent the same Facebook link, posted by an account named Evelyn G. Parker. I frowned. Aunt Evelyn hardly ever used social media. Curious, I tapped the video. The first image that appeared was the familiar kitchen of my parents' house. Pale blue walls, white plaid curtains. Then came my mother's voice, loud and unfiltered even though laughter distorted the audio slightly. That girl, Savannah, she looks successful, sure, but she only got where she is because of other people. She can't do anything on her own. I froze. My father sat across from her, holding a beer, and let out a hearty laugh. People think she's some hotshot manager, but it's all Natalie behind the scenes. She's the real brain. Then a woman off-screen, probably my aunt, chimed in. So, who paid for their fancy new house? My mother shrugged. Mostly from the allowance she sends every month, but we always have to remind her. Always trying to play the part. My chest tightened. I stood up, clutching my phone like it might shatter. Aunt Evelyn, somehow unintentionally, had recorded the entire family gathering from the night before. She probably thought she was capturing a cozy dinner prep scene, but her phone had caught everything they said when they thought no one was listening. I scrolled down to the comments. Somehow it got worse. Natalie Mason, I don't agree with anything said in this video. Evelyn G. Parker, I don't know how to delete it, and I don't plan to. If people can talk like that behind Savannah's back, they should be brave enough to face it in daylight. Natalie texted me immediately afterward. Savannah, are you okay? Have you seen the video? I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop, turned on the webcam, and stared directly into the lens. My eyes were puffy, but my voice came out calm, almost too calm. If anyone's ever asked why I didn't invite my family to graduation, why I don't share my milestones or come home for the holidays, this is why. You can work your whole life to be seen, and when you finally make it, they'll still laugh behind your back, still say you didn't do it on your own. The truth isn't what they say to your face. It's what they're willing to say when they think you're not listening. I ended the video with one sentence. I forgave them once, but this time, I'm just letting go. I didn't post it publicly. I sent it only to Natalie. An hour later, she called. You didn't deserve to hear any of that, and I should have said something. I should have spoken up. I cut in gently. But you didn't. I know, she whispered. And I'm going to make it right. The next day, Natalie organized a small family gathering at our grandmother's house. I didn't go, but I heard what happened. She played the video in front of everyone. Then she stood up, steady and clear, and said, "From now on, anyone who insults Savannah or belittles what she's achieved will no longer be part of my life, or my daughter's." Later that night, she sent me a voice memo of what she had said. I played it at 3 a.m, alone in my apartment. And I cried, not because I was betrayed, but because finally, after all these years, someone in the family had stood up for me, not for favors, not for money, but because it was the right thing to do. And I didn't text Natalie back that night, but inside me, something shifted. A door I thought was permanently shut creaked open, just slightly, just enough for the light to find its way in. That Tuesday morning at 6:45, I cut the cord, officially. The final message I ever sent to my parents contained just one line. I saw the video. From now on, don't call, don't text, don't ask for anything. This relationship is paid in full. No apologies, no explanations, just an ending, clean and sharp like a blade through an already frayed rope. 3 days later, Mom sent a 4-minute voice message. I didn't listen. Dad emailed me with the subject line, "You can't do this to your family." I deleted it unopened. I canceled all monthly transfers, called my lawyer to terminate the informal home renovation loan. Every quiet thing I had done for them, paying off Dad's medical bills, helping Natalie afford extra tutoring years ago, stopped. I wasn't angry. What I felt was something rarer, peace, quiet, liberating peace. 2 weeks later, Mr. Markson, the founder of Viridian, asked to see me at our Atlanta headquarters. He was in his 60s, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, still carrying the edge of a master strategist. "Savannah," he said, "I'm retiring, and I won't hand this ship to anyone who doesn't have the guts to steer it through storms." I stayed silent, waiting. In 15 years, I've never seen someone take a mid-level branch into the regional top 3 in under 6 months. And I've never seen someone turn an almost burned-out employee, like Natalie, into a regional manager. I nodded slightly, my hands resting on my knees. He looked at me, voice dropping a tone deeper. "You don't just manage. You lead with resolve. I want you to be the next CEO of Viridian." I froze. "Sir, I'm only 26. I founded this company at 25. Age proves nothing, Savannah. Results do." My voice shook as I spoke. "I'll need a week to think it over." He chuckled. "No, you have 3 days. I'll be announcing it at the upcoming board meeting." That night, I called the one person I trusted without conditions. Aunt Evelyn. I told her everything. She listened, then said the one sentence that stopped me cold. "If you don't take this position, Savannah, no one deserves it more. What if I fail?" "Then you'll fail as someone brave enough to step up, not someone who watched opportunity pass by." I was quiet for a long moment. Then I said, "Then I guess I'll step up." 3 days later, in the 18th floor boardroom, Mr. Markson placed a hand on my shoulder and announced to the entire leadership team, "Starting today, the new CEO of Viridian is Savannah Mason." The room erupted in applause. I stood there stunned. I could barely believe the name he'd just said was mine. News of my appointment spread like wildfire through the Viridian branches. The culinary world started buzzing. Magazines called me the youngest executive leader in fine dining across the southeastern United States. Reporters reached out, my LinkedIn blew up, my inbox overflowed with interview requests. And then, one quiet Saturday afternoon, I received a handwritten letter from someone I never expected. "Natalie, you've proven everything, and I'm proud of you. Not because you pulled me out of the dark, but because you stood up when no one else did. Whether or not we're still on the same road, I need you to know this. I love you, not because you're successful, but because you've always been the bravest one in this family." I folded the letter and placed it in the drawer next to an old photo. Me, sitting in Aunt Evelyn's kitchen, holding a book, smiling softly. That photo was taken the first summer I moved in with her. The summer I started rebuilding myself. Today, as I stepped out of Viridian's brand new Chicago headquarters, our 50th location, I saw the evening sun glint off the glass doors etched with my name. Viridian Group, Savannah Mason, Chief Executive Officer. I was no longer the shadow behind Natalie. I was no longer the daughter who should have gone to trade school. I was the author of my own story. And this time, I'm writing all the way to the final page. Savannah's story is a powerful reminder that no one, not even the people who raised you, has the right to define your worth. Even when dismissed or overlooked, you can rise through resilience and conviction. True success doesn't come from others' validation. It's born from claiming your identity and living your truth. In real life, many are hurt by family, but everyone deserves the chance to rewrite their story on their own terms. What do you think about Savannah's choices and everything she went through? What would you do in her shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to follow the channel for more powerful family stories like this one.